sue their ass off. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue them, but, I told her, you ought to sue somebody. They're so jealous of Erika. I said, you ought to sue their... I can say you're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off.
Those 4 words were spoken inside the White House during an Easter lunch by the President of the United States. Sue their ass off, not to a general, not to a senator, to a widow, about a comedian who made a joke. And here's the part that nobody is actually asking. What does it say about free speech in America when the loudest, self-proclaimed champion of the First Amendment stands up in the People's House and tells someone to silence a comedian? Because here's what actually happened. Here's what the viral clips aren't showing you. And here's why this entire situation, from the skit to the presidential lunch to the flood of fake Elon Musk screenshots taking over your timeline, is way bigger than a comedy beef. Stick with me. This one goes deep. Let's back up, because if you're jumping into this story cold, you need the full picture. Charlie Kirk was an American right-wing political activist who co-founded the conservative student organization Turning Point USA in 2012 and became one of the most prominent voices of the MAGA movement. He wasn't just a commentator on the sidelines. Before the 2024 election, he toured approximately 25 college campuses on what he called the You're Being Brainwashed tour, generating around 2 billion views on social media, and his work mobilizing young conservatives played a key role in Trump's election victory. Then in September 2025, everything changed. Kirk was shot and killed while speaking at an outdoor campus event at Utah Valley University. A 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson was charged with aggravated murder, and prosecutors sought the death penalty. Trump ordered flags flown at half-staff, thus announced Kirk would posthumously receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and called him a martyr at his memorial service. His widow, Erika, stepped forward. She now leads Turning Point USA, the organization her husband co-founded. At his memorial, she told the crowd that Charlie passionately wanted to reach the lost boys of the West, the young men who feel like they have no direction, no purpose, no faith. She publicly forgave the man who killed her husband, in front of the whole world. That is the person at the center of this story. Now enter Druski. On March 25, 2026, comedian Drew Druski Desbordes posted a 2-minute parody video titled How Conservative Women in America Act. In it, he appeared in white makeup, a blonde wig, a white pantsuit, and blue contact lenses, playing an exaggerated conservative female character across a series of scenes. The video never names anyone, not a single name, not once, but the internet didn't need names. The sketch showed his character strutting onto a stage with fireworks, moving through mock press conferences, staged interviews, a Pilates session, and singing along to pop music while driving. In the moment that drew the most heat, Druski's character declared, "We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country," while a black security guard visibly turned his head in the background. That scene echoed a real speech Erika Kirk had given at the Arkansas governor's mansion, where she had said, "Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially I'm a white male man." The resemblance wasn't vague. It was surgical, and the internet absolutely lost it. Within days, the sketch amassed approximately 61 million views on X, 41 million on Instagram, and over 3 million on TikTok. By the time Trump sat down for his Easter lunch, the clip had crossed 180 million views on X alone. 180 million views. That is not a viral moment. That is a cultural earthquake. Now here's where this story takes a turn that nobody was expecting, because it stopped being just about a comedian and a widow, and became something much stranger. It became a case study in how misinformation actually spreads in 2026. About an hour after Druski posted the video, a user asked Elon Musk's AI tool Grok to identify a screenshot from the sketch. Grok responded, "That's Erika Kirk. I'm the actress/comedian starring in Druski's satirical skit. She's playing the over-the-top conservative woman character. Spot-on performance for the laughs. Grok, Musk's own AI, on Musk's own platform, told millions of people that Erika Kirk was in the video, not Druski dressed as her, not a parody, just her, the real person, apparently praising herself. That response pulled over 111,000 likes and spread across the platform instantly. And then the fake screenshots started flooding in. Posts circulated claiming Kirk had messaged Musk directly. Take this down. This man has racked up over 150 million views humiliating me, mocking me, turning me into a global joke. Other fake posts claimed Musk fired back defending free speech on his platform. Snopes, Newsweek, and multiple independent fact-checkers confirmed the exchange never happened. Kirk made no such post. Musk made no such reply. The screenshots were entirely fabricated. Think about what just happened there. A real skit sparked fake legal threats, a fake AI identification, and a fake celebrity argument between a billionaire and a widow. And all of it went viral simultaneously, faster than truth had any hope of catching up. So that's the backdrop. Now it's Easter Wednesday. There's a lunch at the White House. Trump, 79, spotted Erika Kirk in the audience and went completely off script. "Hello, darling," he told her. "That's a good table. I like that table. You doing well, right?" And then, in front of the assembled guests, cameras rolling, the whole room watching, Trump said, "I think you should sue them." I told her, you ought to sue some of these. They're so jealous of Erika. I said, you ought to sue. I can say this. You're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off. The room responded with laughs and applause. Trump then returned to his prepared remarks about honoring Holy Week. Let's just sit in that for a second. The President of the United States, the man who has built his entire political brand on fighting for free speech, standing inside the White House, encouraging a private lawsuit to silence a comedian over a satire video that never even mentioned its target by name. And this is not an isolated moment. Trump's FCC chair Brendan Carr previously threatened to revoke ABC's broadcasting license over a remark Jimmy Kimmel made about Charlie Kirk's death on his late-night show. Only ABC pulled Kimmel off the air for 5 days. Trump also filed a $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times. There is a pattern here, and it is worth naming out loud. Now let's be honest about both sides of this, because the tension here is real. Druski's skit is almost certainly protected speech under the law. The video never explicitly names Erika Kirk or Turning Point USA. Political satire and parody have always received the strongest First Amendment protections in American courts. Any lawsuit would face massive legal hurdles, and Druski's own representative already confirmed that any claim a cease and desist was issued is absolutely false. But some of the people making that free speech argument deserve scrutiny too. Critics wrote, "The NASCAR video was funny. It was harmless humor. This is too far. Beyond the blatant racism, you're mocking a widow who had her husband assassinated in front of the world." That's not a stupid thing to feel. It's grief and satire don't always coexist cleanly. Even Candace Owens, not exactly Druski's natural ally, laughed at parts of the skit while saying, "This is how everybody's feeling. It's not left or right. It's like everyone's united." Here is the core contradiction at the heart of this whole story. The people who are loudest about defending free speech are cheering a president encouraging a lawsuit to silence a comedian. And the people who typically champion artistic expression are calling this skit racism. Everyone, it seems, believes in free speech right up until the speech is about them. What this story really reveals is something about the moment we are living in right now. Since Charlie Kirk's assassination in September 2025, Erika Kirk has been at the center of a new internet moment with striking regularity. A speech, a meme, a parody, a podcast segment. Each one builds on the last. Each one reaches a bigger audience than the one before. The mere mention of her name has become a lightning rod for scrutiny, parody, and conspiracy in equal measure. She sat in the House chamber at the State of the Union as Trump's personal guest. She received a presidential appointment to the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors. She leads one of the most powerful conservative organizations in the country, and she did all of this while grieving. Meanwhile, a comedian makes a skit with prosthetics, pyrotechnics, and 0 named targets, and it generates more views than most Super Bowl ads. But the internet fills the information vacuum with fabricated screenshots. Musk's own AI makes it worse by misidentifying the subject. And the President of the United States turns it into a punchline at an Easter lunch. This is what political discourse looks like in 2026. Not debates, not policy, a content cycle that never sleeps, where grief, satire, and disinformation travel in the same lane at the same speed. I'm not here to tell you whether Druski's skit was right or wrong. You're smart enough to decide that for yourself. What I will say is this: when a sitting president uses an Easter lunch to encourage a lawsuit against a comedian, and the room cheers, something worth paying attention to is happening, not just politically, culturally, because free speech was always meant to be uncomfortable. It was designed that way. Yet the real question is whether we only want it when it's working in our favor. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely read them. If this made you think, share it with someone who needs to see it. And I'll see you in the next one.